Ba-na-na-now. Now. Welcome to the Front Mission 5 experience. Or the Purple Haze experience. Or should I say the Wanzer Roundup. Anyway, we are here with the Grapple. The first Wanzer we are going to be looking at today. And I've tried to color it as faithfully as possible in tribute to the Purple Haze unit from Front Mission 3. I don't quite have a purple camo pattern yet in the game. I might get one later. I can't recall if you get one or not. But I think this looks pretty close to what they had going on. Anyhow, let's talk a little bit about the Grapple. It is another model created by Diablo Avionics, so that would include, you know, the Gust and the Frost. Those were both also Diablo Avionics models. And this one was developed especially for Wanzer melee combat. So, like, Wanzer to Wanzer, kind of one-on-one melee combat. And because of its 3-layer frontal armor construction and heavily armored legs, this heavy-duty unit is equipped with a high-output engine, but it still suffers in mobility. So yeah, even though it's got a huge engine inside it, having 3 layers of armor on the front there, and then having these big bulky legs, like you can see this big slab of armor on the legs there, make it very slow and lacks in maneuverability compared to some of the other melee units that are in the game, such as the Numsekar. The Numsekar is yet another Diablo Avionics Wanzer. Diablo Avionics, by the way, I think is sort of like supposed to be loosely based on like General Motors, GM, because it's like this one giant conglomerate, and it has like it has a number of sub corporations within it that produce different things, either like ones that it spun off itself or ones that it acquired through acquisitions. And that's why it makes, you know, so many different Wanzers for the USN. Anyhow, the Numsekar was concurrently developed with the Frost during the Second Huffman Conflict era, and it was originally intended for the same frontline use as the Frost. However, towards the end of its development, it was modified into a close and melee combat focused model that provided a good balance of mobility and durability. And it saw deployment in many USN states, especially among special forces. So yeah, it was originally developed with the same idea in mind as the Frost, but then it was repurposed into a close and melee, or close combat and melee oriented unit. So I guess that suggests that you could maybe equip it with a couple shotguns and it would be a viable option as an assault unit. You know, yeah, if you really want to get up close and get up in their face, maybe this would be a good choice. I haven't really tried that myself before. Alright, the next one we have up is the first OCU Wanzer we're going to be talking about today. It's the Scintilla, and got some tiger camo on there. Kind of cool looking. It is constructed by the Korean manufacturer Biwa, and Biwa is the only Korean manufacturer in the Front Mission series, and the Scintilla is the only Wanzer it makes. Biwa is mainly a manufacturer of aircraft and aircraft parts, like military aircraft. So in Front Mission 2, where you get some military aircraft showing up, I believe some of them are Biwa models. Anyhow, the Scintilla excels from a cost-performance perspective, and it was first deployed towards the end of the Second Huffman Conflict. If you think back to the levels we've done, you'll notice that the Scintilla doesn't appear until after that year passes in between the USN offensive and then the beginning of the OCU offensive. So the Scintilla, it was deployed as part of that large-scale OCU offensive against the USN forces on Huffman Island. The Scintilla, however, suffers from poor durability and load capacity, but its lightweight and mobility saw it achieve wide deployment as a melee unit. It had a reputation for frequently breaking down due to many of its parts being underpowered, but these defects were continuously improved upon with its successor model, the Black Knight. So yeah, I guess, you know, this was 2005 this game came out, and I think at that time Korean car manufacturers were still not really known for quality. They're still kind of like the budget brand, or like the, you know, the something you might buy if you didn't really have the money, but you wouldn't really be all that happy with. Like, I remember, you know, back then the Tiburon was kind of a joke. Looked like a sports car, but it wasn't actually a sports car. You know, I drove some Kias and some Hyundais at that time, and wasn't all that impressed. We ended up buying a Mazda instead. So I think, you know, like, this kind of condescension about Biwa and the Korean manufacturing may come from that era and that kind of sensibility. You know, nowadays the Koreans are basically beating the Japanese in every conceivable area of manufacturing in terms of quality and price. So maybe not always quality, but at least price. And the quality is no slouch. So I don't think this kind of attitude really exists anymore. If anything, you get a lot of Japanese who are just sort of terrified of the Korean menace. But that is another topic altogether. So the next model to talk about is the Uisk. See, I've got it in black here. The Uisk is the first EC model that we're actually going to be talking about, first European model. It's developed by the English Wanzer maker Sender. And Sender is, according to the World Historica, known for aircraft parts manufacturing and sort of precision parts manufacturing. So that leads me to believe that it may be based on Rolls-Royce, because Rolls-Royce is, of course, like one of the world's largest and most well-known aircraft engine manufacturers and like aircraft systems manufacturers, both like for civilian aircraft, like they're involved in Airbus, and then also with military aircraft as well. I believe they're involved in the development of the F-22. Whether you think that's a good thing or not, I'm not really sure. I may be wrong about that. You can let me know. Anyhow, yeah, so I think Sender might be based on Rolls-Royce, just like Diablo Avionics is based on GM. And I don't think we've actually seen them yet, but there are some other companies or corporations in the game that we could probably point out some real-world equivalents to. So anyway, the Uisk was a successor to the hit Husky and Moth models, which were both general-purpose Wanzers. So the Husky and the Moth are both Wanzers that appear in Front Mission 1, so like Front Mission 1, Front Mission First, Front Mission DS, as well as in Front Mission Online. So if you want to go check out what they looked like, I suggest going to that link I posted in the OP and looking under Front Mission Online to get like a 3D model of them as opposed to the sprite from Front Mission 1. The Husky, one of the predecessors to the Uisk, was originally intended for use by airborne units and was later upgraded to a full general-purpose Wanzer because of its excellent mobility and handling. And the Husky, so yeah, the Husky originally, it was like stripped down of armor so that it would be easier to pick up with one of those giant, like, dual-rotor helicopters they used to move the Wanzers around. And, you know, yeah, because you can get more range if obviously the unit is lighter. But then it was made into a normal general-purpose Wanzer. And in a similar vein, the Uisk was also intended to be used as a general-purpose Wanzer, but its lack of mobility meant that it was finally deployed as a support unit instead. And there was another Wanzer related to the Uisk called the Zelt, and the Zelt was something of a prototype for the Uisk. And the Uisk was the realization of numerous improvements on its design, bringing the Zelt's versatility into Sender's main lineup. So once again, if you want to see a image of the Zelt, go check out the Front Mission Online images. It looks very, very similar to the Uisk. It's just maybe a little bit less sophisticated looking because it was basically a test unit, and it says in the World Historica that it was produced only in small quantities because of that. Finally, the Uisk's design concept was the Knight, as in K-N-I-G-T, not N-I-G-T. And its pointed head and jutting out armor. So you can see the pointed head, it definitely looks like a knight's helm, right? Maybe something you'd see in like the Souls series. It's a little bit eccentric looking, perhaps not terribly practical, but it does have that knight look. And then you can see the shoulders they do kind of look like the shoulders you might see on a ornate set of plate mail. And in this design, we can observe the realization of the quote-unquote Senderism design ethos. So this is something they mentioned in the general description of Sender as a corporation, that it had this design ethos called Senderism. Now, we often use that suffix on English words like Taylorism or Marxism or, you know, whatever. But in Japanese, they often use this ism suffix in ways that we probably would not use it, especially when it has to do with design. They'll make up like you know, kind of English words that that sound cool in Japanese but sound a little bit odd in English, and this Senderism idea is kind of one of those words, I'd say. Alright, the last model to talk about I can't show you in the hangar because it is a mobile weapon, but I did manage to find this image from the World Historica, and you can see it there. It is the Groning, and it is a Cicada Industries model. It was developed as a successor to the Type 88 Sea King mobile weapon, which only appears in Front Mission Online. The Type 88 was developed for an urban suppression role and as a B device test and data collection unit. It was noted for its maneuverability despite its size and unstable design. So why would it be maneuverable despite being very large and having an unstable design? What could that have to do with the B device and what we heard back from that officer when he was talking about medical applications of, applications of medical technology to Wanzer development? You never really know with Cicada Industries. They're very, very shady, and when you know that the Cicada Industries are around, you know that something bad is about to happen. So the Groning was a continuation of the test and data collection role of the Type 88, and it included a new posture control system which made a use of improvements to the B device CPU. The Groning Type B2, which is the one that you see in the image there, was equipped with a pile bunker and rifle for urban suppression roles. So you can see the rifle in its right hand and the pile bunker in its left hand. And in OCU countries, it was nicknamed the Grantees. So I believe in the video where Walter's giving his briefing, he says, we're up against a Groning Type B Grantees. And yeah, the Grantees thing is the nickname for this model among OCU soldiers. So, that will do it for this Wanzer Roundup. And I hope you enjoyed that. I will be going on to do the next mission within, the next few days. I might not upload it right away, but it won't be too long, and let me know if there was anything about this video that interested you, so I can get some more ideas for doing the next roundup. Until then, see you later.